Hello and welcome to Movie Film Studios, the only podcast that takes you inside the mind of two film studio executives as we unravel and then re-ravel the best that Hollywood has to offer. I'm Isaac.
And I'm AJ, and this week we apparated directly into a Pacific storm in order to stop Thanos from stealing our hippogriffs. But before we craft that into a completely original and totally non-litigious film of our own, it's time to check in on our last feature film that we released in Box Office Report.
So the film we released last week was a little thing called Billy versus the Machine.
Yeah, starring John Cusack, one of Madonna's kids.
It was so here's where it breaks down. We wanted to get kids of celebrities to come in and play the roles. You mentioned that it would be sort of quite weird. Should we have the two best friends be? I mentioned that it would be weird if they were
related.
real life
They're siblings.
So we really wanted to get Jim Gaffigan in to play our wise old janitor to sort of really kickstart that dramatic phase of his career and make sure that people of a certain generation didn't actually realize he was once a comedian.
Yes.
Jim Gaffigan has like 9 kids.
Oh.
And we kind of figured the best way of getting Jim Gaffigan into the film was to cast his kids.
Ah, okay.
He wouldn't do it if we cast one kid as the lead role.
Yep.
He wasn't interested in playing the janitor. We decided we cast the second kid in the second lead.
Yep.
Not interested.
Okay.
Third kid as just sort of like weird sort of like offsider to the second kid.
Yep.
He started sort of showing up to the table reads a little bit more.
Okay, yep.
By the time we got to the 6th kid, he was on board.
Okay.
And then the other 3 kids just kind of felt a little bit left out. So we gave them minor roles like
executive producer.
They tagged them on there just to make them feel welcome.
Writer,
so like you watch the credits, the word Gaffigan appears just like an obscene amount of times.
That's right. Was the gaffer also a Gaffigan?
Like strangely enough, it turns out, as Jim was telling us a story about his great-great-grandfather, that's actually where the word comes from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's how his entire family got into show business.
Ah, brilliant. So, that is Billy versus the Machine, out now on Mufuzawudada.
Yeah, out now indeed.
Indeed. Our first sports film, our first sports drama, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and John Cusack reprising his role as the eccentric billionaire who puts on weird tournaments for arcade things.
Yes.
Already, like, I think he's locked himself in a room and he's said, I'm going to write the third part of this trilogy.
Ooh.
And it's going to be all about me and my story, and it's going to be
brilliant.
Like, it's going to be like a jobs thing. And I'm like, you go off and do that, because that's not what we're doing. Like, he's definitely just has to be a background character, but John's got it in his head that the next film's all about him and his career and his startup in the garage and tinkering with computers and building his empire.
Look,
and I'm just like, so long as it gets him out of his hair, he can go off and do whatever he wants.
He can take that to Paramount or to Universal, to some other studio that's interested in that. We're not really keen on it. Anyway, it's time for This Week in Trailers.
Indeed it is.
Trailer number 1. We're going for more of a, widespread audience appeal with this week's trailers.
Yeah.
Hence why we've chosen Adrift.
So this is based on a true story telling of it starts off as like a holiday love story where some surfer chick meets some yachting dude and they fall madly in love and they're like, oh, aren't we going to live happily ever after? Let's sail off into the sunset. Yeah. Bum, bum. Yep. And there's this weird sort of like tonal shift in the trailer. You're like, oh, something bad's about to happen.
Of course.
And it's like, if you've seen Perfect Storm and there's a giant wave looming above a ship,
that's the thing.
Double it.
Yeah.
It's just like, seriously, this wave is just like, it cannot fit on screen. It's massive.
You know, barring Titanic, and they can't really do stuff with icebergs because it's just going to remind you of Titanic. But if it's a film with a boat in it and it's a drama, it's just going to be a storm.
It's true.
Nothing else can happen.
The worst storm the Pacific has ever seen.
And it's always the worst storm. It's always the worst storm. Is there a ranking system for these things? Is there a cinematic ranking system for ocean storms?
Beaufort scale of serious.
Really?
Beaufort came up with a scale for wind.
Yep.
And as you used to measure storms.
Okay.
And it's a really weird scale as well.
Yep.
So one is a light gust enough to ruffle some leaves.
Aww.
And that's legitimately 1, and it's 4.
Yep.
Wind is whipping at flags and branches. Some branches are being torn down. You'll have to pull your jacket closer around you. This is not a scale. What are you doing, Perfect?
Well, here, the thing is, though, if the light breeze that ruffled some leaves was the first storm ever, that was the worst storm. So at some point, that was the worst storm, and it just got superseded at that point. So where does Life of Pi fit into this equation?
Yeah, this film very much feels like Life of Pi without the tiger.
Yeah.
And you've replaced the tiger with a crippled guy with a broken leg. I'm like...
And a woman,
Yeah, just give us a tiger. Give us any jungle animal. Really, I don't really mind.
A lemur?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, why not? They're in the jungle, aren't they?
Look, it seems like they do this moment where it's just our nearest land is Hawaii.
Yeah.
But Hawaii is hitting a needle in a haystack, and if we miss Hawaii, there's 2,000 miles, and we're dead. I'm just like, oh, you needed to raise the stakes? You already sort of had me somewhat terrified.
Yeah.
So Gravity, in my cinema-going experience, just actually made me terrified.
It is.
The thought of being lost and abandoned with no way of getting back home.
And hallucinations of George Clooney. It's horrifying.
I mean, the tie-in with Perfect Storm and George Clooney here is just absolutely spot on. But this sort of Lost at Sea thing is similarly horrifying to me. No one can get you. There's no way back. Oh, I suppose at least this way you can breathe the air, in space, where just it's humans are not supposed to be here at all. So I think that's kind of what they're going for in this.
It's the emotional overcoming all odds. Love will find a way. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah. We've seen it a lot of times before. Couldn't name any other film that this has appeared in because I've never seen any of them, but you've seen it before.
I mean, you've seen it in trailers. You've probably not gone to the movies because you go, oh, that's really sappy and stupid, and I'm not going to bother.
Yep.
Which is Adrift, apparently.
Yes,
so.
Indeed. See it soon if you want, or don't. Next film off the ranks. Now, we are actually going for something a bit more popular.
This film will break box office records 100%,
Absolutely.
No doubt. 15 years in the making.
Yep.
For Avengers Infinity War.
Yes, another big Disney tentpole. Really, Thanos in this film is the embodiment of Disney right now. It's just sucking...
I will absorb everything until I am all-powerful.
Yeah, they've got Marvel. They've now got Fox, so they now have The Simpsons. So I'm waiting for
so what Marvel's the red Infinity Stone, and Fox is the yellow one. Star Wars is the blue one.
And then... I guess animation and Pixar, green, why not?
So, soon Disney will complete its Thanos gauntlet and control all media.
If they get Warner Brothers as well, they'll get the Looney Tunes. They're unstoppable. They are absolutely unstoppable.
The only way to defeat them is to get characters from every film made in the last 15 years and fight against Disney in an epic war.
I would actually watch that film.
I know. I think we're doing our job a little bit too early. That does sound very film studios. I am not excited for this film in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
There's probably been 3 years where I've seen maybe 1/10 of the Marvel films that have come out. I saw Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Didn't see Black Panther. Didn't see Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see Spider-Man Homecoming. Not technically sort of...
Yeah, it's close enough.
I mean, it's
part of the canon.
I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and it was better than Guardians 1, or maybe it wasn't. I didn't really enjoy Guardians 1. I'm just tired. I'm so tired of it. And you see the poster for this and there's not enough space on the poster for all of the characters.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing good about things like Guardians of the Galaxy or Doctor Strange was it took a great big step back from all the cookie cutter Marvel films you'd seen before. I'm like, that's a little bit of a breath of fresh air. And then they go, oh, but then we're just going to take them and put them into the same films that you're sick of watching. And I was like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, so you mentioned this is about 15 years in the making, right? So there's been about 15 years of Marvel films that all exist within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which all kicked off with the first Iron Man film.
12 years. I think first Iron Man was 2006.
Whatever. But really now we've got to this point, we've needed all these films, we've needed to introduce all these characters, we've had complex emotions and complex stories and interweaving dialogue and all this kind of stuff, and then the end result is, there's just a big evil dude trying to take over the world. Like, that's the plot of this film. Like, well, is that the culmination of all of this? But
it's
the thing
not
is,
the world, it's the universe.
Oh, the universe. I'm sorry.
Or the multiverse.
Yeah. But, like, that's the point, right? Like, we've had all these films and that's all it's led to, just that. And they really can't do anything more than that because there's so many characters in there now.
I think, to be fair, this is significantly less confusing than the actual Marvel Universe, which has like 1,000 more characters that you haven't seen and the most convoluted plots that sort of contradict one of each other. The fact that they've managed to cobble something slightly resembling something that makes sense together is, kudos
to
them.
It's really impressive.
And they, like, what do you reckon, $2-3 billion worldwide in the first couple of weeks? Just like, it's just going to be insane.
Yep.
You know, the other thing that really pisses me off is how egotistical Robert Downey Jr. is, that he always has to be the biggest and the frontest and the centerist on every poster and every trailer.
Yep.
It just, like, give it a rest. Yes, I do think Iron Man is the best Marvel film, and it was the first one, and I really enjoy it.
Yep.
But just give it a break. You're not the most important or most interesting character anymore.
This might be his last appearance as Iron Man. There's a chance that he's going to finish up after this, and then in the grand comic tradition, it'll just get passed on to another person.
I think technically most of these actors are out of contract after Infinity Wars.
Possibly, yeah. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the Great War of Infinity coming soon.
I suppose it's a little bit like Hugh Jackman. I'm glad he retired on such a good note.
But that's one of the things that Fox were doing different compared to Disney and Marvel. Fox were like, well, we've had peak superhero, so now it's time to do different things with them.
Yeah.
And that's why you get Deadpool, and that's why you get Logan, which are not... They're very great standalone films, and they do put a definitive end on certain things, or they push it into new directions, whereas Marvel's really reached a massive tipping point with this film, and where they're going to go after this, I have no idea. But we'll find out.
I'm sure you could. There's spreadsheets online of here's Black Panther 2, here's Doctor Strange 2, here's the year that it's going to come out, and then we're doing Captain Marvel, and then...
Oh, that's right, Hey, I think Captain Marvel's appearing in the Avengers as well. Okay. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. Like, because that film has a shortage of characters, apparently. They need more. Anyway, see that sometime April this year. It's coming soon.
It's not too far off.
Yes, everything is literally moving out of the way for that thing to land. All right, last trailer for this episode is from our friends at Warner Brothers, and it is Fantastic Beasts 2.
The Crimes of Grindelwald. What's the Crimes
Gilbert?
of Grindelwald, I think, is the title of... Like, it is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them Too.
Yep.
The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yes, correct. The sequel to the previous Fantastic Beasts, starring Eddie Redmayne, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp wasn't a star, but he was definitely in the film.
He was in the... Yeah, and other actors.
Not Josh Gad. Whoever is as close as possible to Josh Gad without being Josh Gad, he was in that film.
Yeah, that guy. I liked his character.
Yeah, I actually liked the ensemble cast they put together there was very good. I think the film was perfectly average. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It was...
I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. I felt like the story was very cluttered, but... art direction, special effects, all that stuff. Just being back in the world of Potter, it's great. I love it. It's one of those things I grew up with.
Happy place.
It is. It's a lovely happy place. And anytime you hear like Hedwig's theme played, you're just like, ah.
To be fair, like absolutely, like we were tying it back to Avengers. Avengers kind of has this subtle little like 4 or 5 minute theme that's just like, oh yeah, it kind of sounds a bit familiar. Whereas you think about Harry Potter, the doon 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 doon, like just so iconic. Just whoever, I don't know who wrote
John Williams.
It was John Williams. I was going to say Danny Elfman because it had the word elf in it. But yeah, just like absolutely phenomenal hook to that, and it's just sort of an unforgettable theme song that you sort of can't like. And again, I grew up with the books. Wasn't a huge fan of the movies. There's a couple of nice moments in there. They're a little bit sort of confused all over the place.
Oh, for sure.
But like so inextricably linked with the Harry Potter universe is that theme song that you just it's wormed its way into the public consciousness.
In the same way that a whole bunch of John Williams' other themes have wormed into your head.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear those notes, you're just like, you're back. You're back in that magical world. And for a lot of kids, it's like how they learnt cinema, how they learnt the language of cinema was through the Harry Potter films.
Yeah. I think my sister is one of those people who has watched the films but never read a book.
Yep.
And she came out of Deathly Hallows Part 2 and said to her friend, "Is Snape Harry's dad?" And I'm like, I absolutely get the confusion because there's that relationship with Lily and the mum, and Snape sacrifices himself to save Harry, and it's this thing like, if you've read the books, like absolutely not, but at the same time, like I can get from someone's point of view who's never actually done anything but watch the films.
That's a really interesting thing because I read the books before I saw the films, and I love both of them, but my understanding of the films is absolutely bolstered by the fact that I know a lot of the depth in the books.
Yeah,
and it's filling in a lot of the gaps. So I don't know how good or bad the films are in regards to how they exist as a standalone entity. And I think given that experience, they didn't do as well as I thought they did.
No, there's I think in the third one, did Alfonso Cuarón?
Alfonso Cuarón did, Prisoner of Azkaban, the third one.
They never explained the Padfoot Prongs Wormtail.
Oh, no, they didn't, no.
And I'm just like sitting there going, this is absolutely massive to the story, but apparently people who didn't know just didn't care. And I'm just like, I kind of felt like they were missing bits and pieces. And that's the problem with the Harry Potter universe, is that it's so broad and it continues beyond the books and beyond the films. We're having a discussion before this, and I'm very much of the opinion that if it does not appear in the first seven books, it is not in my mind canon. So there's trivia they have, in which country is Hogwarts located, and apparently the answer is Scotland. It does not say that at any point in the books, and I refuse to believe it is actually true. I'm not going to go on a Pottermore. I'm not going to read Quidditch Through the Ages. I'm not going to fly to London and back in time to watch the Cursed Child before it closed up on whatever off London's equivalent to Broadway there is. It's just not. Like, I'm not interested in anything beyond the books themselves.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's just me, and that's just where I'm coming from. But
no, I'm with you on that point with Star Wars. I really do not give a crap about anything outside of those three films that I like.
I do have one sort of claim to fame Harry Potter story, which I've sort of... I really wanted to tell. The year is 1998. Actually, might have been 99. I don't really remember. The Scholastic book lady came in and gave a presentation on fantastic new kids' books that you should all be reading. And being an impressionable 12-year-old at the time, I'm like, I'm going to go to the bookstore and I'm going to get the one that interests me the most. And I walk up to the counter and said, I would like to read a book called Northern Lights, which is by Philip Pullman. The Amber Spyglass and the Subtle Knife form a really brilliant trilogy called His Dark Materials. Really fantastic book. At the time, I did not know who the author of it was. Like, we have like 6 books called Northern Lights. Which one do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I will go with choice number 2. Scholastic book lady told me to read Harry Potter, and they're like, oh yeah, we've got a book here called Harry Potter. We'll have to special order it in from the UK. It'll be here in 6 weeks. Whoa. And I'm just like, that's pretty impressive that like I was probably one of the first people to have read Harry Potter, considering I had to special order it in. Read it, thought, hey, that's all right, and then like 5 years later, it like really blew up as like a thing. Like I actively ignored reading Chamber of Secrets when I saw that it came out because I just didn't think the first book was that good. And then by the time Goblet of Fire came around and it was just like everyone was reading it, I'm like, I read this I read the first one ages ago, and it was just kind of like an all right book, but apparently it captured the public imagination in a way that I was so far ahead of the curve, but like at the same time, like just didn't get it.
It's fine. It's fine to be on the wrong side of history. There are a lot of critics that thought Empire Strikes Back was a terrible film. It's fine. You can stay in your little cocoon of Harry Potter negativity.
It's very hipster.
It is a little bit.
I liked it before it was cool.
No, you didn't like it before it was cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I didn't like it before I was cool. Before it was cool. It's the reverse hipster. Yeah, and now I only. Yeah,
you didn't like it before it was cool not to like it.
Has it ever been cool not to like Harry Potter?
It's been cool to not like anything that's popular. So
yeah, but I still think even like hipsters are just like, oh yeah, like, you know, you bourgeois capitalist. Oh, but I really like Harry Potter. Harry Potter's great. Like my mum read it to me when I was a kid. I mean, it's fantastic.
Don't worry, there's definitely those kind of hipsters out there, but there's definitely hipsters that say, J.K. Rowling's writing is simply atrocious. It's contrived and quite boorish.
And they sit down and smoke their pipe and read Hemingway.
That's right, yeah. That's to themselves on a couch somewhere. That's exactly what happens. Okay, that is our 3 trailers for this episode. Now, it's time to sort of put those into our little machine.
Cafetiere, press, let them percolate.
That's
and then
right.
As we press the plunger down, distill them into something. I don't drink coffee. I really don't like it. I assume that's sort of how it works.
That sounds about right. I was convinced that you knew what you were talking about.
I think I got a cafetiere and a French press mixed up.
Sure,
but
that's fine.
You can do both with both of them.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should go for a walk.
I think we should. Let's take a stroll.
Oh, that is absolutely refreshing.
Indeed. It's a lovely breeze.
So let's break it down. First up, we had a survival love story in a remote and inaccessible location.
Yep.
We have a culmination of a superhero franchise.
Yep.
And we have a prequel beloved children's book sequel.
Yep. All right, with a very long cinematic history as well.
Exactly.
Look, we here at Movie Film Studios, we know what the audience wants. We're on the pulse. We see the beacons out there. We know exactly what is popular. We want to make sure that when our films go up on Mfuza that they captivate people, that they remind them of those very popular things that they like, but then also give them a taste of something original and something interesting.
Yeah.
Which is why we're going to be doing the most popular one in that series of 3. It's Adrift.
Adrift. Okay, sure. Because we don't want to be one of the top 10 grossing films ever made.
No.
All right. Okay. I mean, it does make it quite a lot easier because we don't really. I mean, at this point, there's like 26 sort of films that we've made so far.
Yep.
And we've actually last week started verging into sequel territory.
Yep.
We don't really have that wealth of cinematic universe to actually go. Let's do a prequel to Adventure Children.
Yep.
Or let's do like a culmination of KNIGHTS meets Steel Chalk. It's getting there. It's getting close. And eventually,
when we have our cinematic universe and we can combine everyone together into one big pot. That's not yet.
But I do really love the idea of Adrift because I mean in my mind I'm trying to come up with the scariest and most remote of locations to strand our characters.
Yep. All right. So we've got I mean we can't do ocean. Ocean's out.
We can't really do space either.
Can't do space. Everest has been done.
Yeah, Mars has been done. The Sun was done.
Was it? Oh,
in
Danny Boyle
Sunshine.
song. Yeah. That was weird.
That was more of a sort of a weird horror than it was like a stranded location.
Yep.
I watched one where like spelunking in caves was done.
Yep, we've done The Moon has been done, I think, in Moon.
Yeah, that's true. Survival in
a desert
probably English done. Patient. Did they do it in that one? Maybe
probably Antarctic. The Arctic?
Antarctic and Arctic? I'm just thinking, like, what about the sky? Okay. I'm like, you can't get stranded in the sky.
Or just like in the upper atmosphere, not in outer space.
Unless you're falling forever. I don't think... What is the guy doing? The girl. Like, how do they get out? It just doesn't work.
Well, I mean, do we need to go something, instead of, like, against all odds kind of fight against nature, do we just need to go more mundane? Like, what's a mundane situation that people can get stuck in that would necessitate a connection and a spiritual journey? So, like, he had 127 hours, right? And that's ostensibly about a guy who got his hand jammed in a rock.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty simple. So, what if it was just like, we had a bike crash and our bikes are tangled up together and we can't pull them free?
I still think that there has to be the lack of ability for rescue by other humans, the lack of intervention.
They fell off a cliff while riding.
Yeah, I mean, like 28 days later. No, hang on, 128 sevens.
127 hours.
Are they both Danny Boyle films with lots of weird numbers in them?
I think so. Yeah. 127 hours is the one with
28 Days Later and Sunshine. Yeah. I'm just going to say Slumdog Millionaire and Trainspotting and Trainspotting 2. There's another one with a number in it.
There you go.
And now we've covered every film Danny Boyle has ever done. What about 127 hours, but like trapped in a sewer?
Oh yeah, great. Yep.
Like hand sort of jammed in a grate. Yeah. And like no one can, in the sewers, no one can hear you scream. That famous tagline.
Yep. I love this because we're almost stepping on like It territory as well.
Yeah. Like it is almost like It is just the guy who's just like, help me, little kid, I'm trapped in this. And like maybe that's a thing. Yeah. Maybe like the only one human interaction in this film is a little kid's ball goes down there, and then they're just the kid runs off screaming because they just watched It, and they're just like, it's not happening to me. I'm gonna be scarred for life, but it's not happening to me.
This could be like the prequel to It. So imagine I haven't seen It, but as far as I'm aware, it's about a clown that lives in a sewer, right?
Sure. I think it's like a demon who disguises himself as a clown and tries to lure kids into the...
Okay, fine. But what if that thing wasn't a demon to start with? What if it was just a person who got stuck in a drain and never got rescued and then got mutated? Yeah, and became a demon.
I think we're getting a little off track. Like it really has to be the psychological torment of being isolated.
You're right.
And, maybe if we put in subtle allusions that maybe this person, suffers such psychological trauma that potentially later on they go live in the sewer and maybe they turn into Pennywise the Clown. Possibly, but it's got to be really, really subtle.
Super subtle,
It doesn't happen in our film. This is just the complete and utter mental breakdown of, possibly even like a germaphobe.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing in the sewer or how that happens that they get down
there. So there's some kind of situation happens and they have no choice. So maybe, hang on, what if they have a partner, right? And the partner falls into the sewer and gets swept away. And so the only way that they can rescue them is that they have to go into the sewer. And as a germaphobe, that's kind of like that psychological angst of like, oh, my partner's been is in trouble and needs to be rescued, but also it's a sewer and I don't want to go in there. Is that the kind of torment that we're thinking of here, or is that not tormenty enough?
I don't know. Maybe the germaphobe thing's a bit of a weird one, because I was kind of thinking that like maybe if the partner's like cool like spelunking person who like does adventurous things, and the new hipster thing to do is like use like just geocaching in sewers or something like that, and this person reluctantly agrees, and like suddenly they're in like this position where the boyfriend is like fallen over and cracked their head open in the sewer, and they're trying to struggle to keep them alive and also simultaneously have their hand stuck in a grate. But then maybe there's also like a saw element where the person who set up the sewer spelunking is also setting up like weird traps and puzzles that this person has to solve as well. By the clues were all there, you had to find them. It was hidden behind the brick near the water pressure valve next to the rusty pipe.
Is it there?
You could have saved yourself.
Will there be a situation where they have to choose between keeping their hand or keeping their partner alive as well?
Yeah.
And okay, this works.
So it's part 127 hours.
Yeah.
It's part Saw and part Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm trying to think of some other piece of media that's set in the sewers.
The only thing that's coming to mind is like early scenes in Ratatouille.
Yeah, sure. Flushed Away.
Sure.
Another great one that's set in that area. So who's the... we've got spelunking athletic boyfriend who's geocaching.
Yep.
We'll have to set up a Saw type...
like a villain.
Rube Goldberg puzzle master. And then we have the lead person in our film who's like, has to solve the puzzles.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's look at the puzzle master, because I feel like that's a very interesting kind of character, and depending on what type of machinations they want to do, it'll sort of determine who we cast and who they are. I guess.
Kind of already have a casting in mind.
Oh yeah.
The issue is that I think he might be dead, and
that's never stopped us before.
That's Bob Hoskins.
He is dead. Yes.
And I think mainly because I think sewers and I think Super Mario. I just kind of want like an unhinged guy, unhinged Super Mario to have set up these weird puzzles that they have to solve.
Yeah, so just like a guy who's been consumed by Super Mario Brothers, the game and the movie, and then decides to become Mario. Yeah. And sort of moves into the sewers.
I think we're stepping on intellectual property here again. Well, I'm not sure if Nintendo will allow us to do it. But there's these subtle references.
Subtle references, yeah.
Just like the subtle references to Pennywise. Yeah. He's got a big mustache.
And he wears red and blue. But he's not Mario. But he's been influenced by something. And he has a sewer system set up down there with like trained turtles.
There's definitely snappy turtles
down there, yep.
Have you, I was watching something recently where they actually sort of were showing the bite power of a snapping turtle.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is like they had the opening the jaws and they put a watermelon.
Yeah.
There's it's a foot diameter watermelon in front of it, and it just destroys it with its sharp beak and immense biting power. Yep. I love the snapping turtle element of this.
Great. So we'll have to CG Bob Hoskins.
No, I mean, I think it's just spiritually we cast someone who looks like Bob Hoskins.
A Bob Hoskins type.
Yeah. Or we Gary Oldman someone to look like Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, okay. Why don't we just Gary Oldman?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, actually, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman
as Bob Hoskins.
As not Mario.
As faux Mario.
As Italian plumber man / Jigsaw. So what's his name? I like that Jigsaw sort of has this kind of there's a puzzle element to him. Do we call him Goldberg or Rube Goldberg or?
Well, I think we've got to sort of look at the sewer turtle element and try and turn if it was tortoiseshell or Shelley even.
Yeah.
Something along those lines that ties into. Jigsaw, part of that name was because of the elaborate kind of nature of the traps and stuff that it was setting.
I think he also cut a jigsaw-shaped piece of skin out of people's...
I've never seen Saw.
I actually really like the fact that we've gone snapping turtles for Mario reasons, but it also works really nicely for Ninja Turtle reasons. So I think we have 4 coloured snapping turtles, and maybe he calls himself the Shredder or something like that. I don't know. It's got to be.
Well, do we give him the name of another famous artist? So you know how the Ninja Turtles are Raphael,
Botticelli.
Botticelli.
There you go.
And it's Italian
too. It's Italian enough.
Beautiful.
The original plumber Botticelli.
Okay.
So we have our criminal mastermind, puzzle sewer, torture master Botticelli, played by Gary Oldman, who's been made up to look like Bob Hoskins, playing Mario.
Faux Mario, a Mario type. So it's Gary Oldman playing a Bob Hoskins type who's playing a Mario type.
Exactly, yeah.
That's legally distinct enough.
Everything we do, it goes without saying, is legally distinct from any other intellectual property.
Yeah, okay. So now we just need our main character and their partner, I guess.
I think we do maybe we do a phone booth style thing where there's 3 actors in the entire film.
Yeah, great.
Which had Kiefer Sutherland,
Colin Firth,
Firth, and I think Katie Holmes might have played the girlfriend. Okay, and that's about it. They cheated a little bit, and they had a crowd standing around at one point. And I'm like, that's six more people to cast in your film. The credits for this is literally going to be 1, 2, 3, done.
Yep, okay. If we can get them to shoot the film as well, that way we don't even need to have camera operators.
They can do their own lighting and makeup.
Yeah, okay. So it's
just the 3 people. So this is Gary Oldman's directorial debut as well.
Okay, that means we can't list ourselves as producers on this one.
No, we have nothing to do with this.
All right, so as soon as we're done here, we're going to hand over the rights to the actors.
Yeah,
and they're going to direct, produce, edit, and release
and Animal Train and
under our banner. We'll give them the password to Mufuzawudada and they can upload the film there
when they're done.
And then we will have no reason to have anything but their names in the credits. All right, so casting this one is going to be really, really important.
It is. They're going to have to be multi-talented, multi-skilled people.
Absolutely. There's plenty of those people around.
Quadruple threats, quintuple threats.
It's quintuple for sure.
Septuple threats.
Yep.
Octagonal threats.
Yep. Decatuple.
Isocosa threats.
Yep. All right. Who should we cast? Who is a great... we need people that act, obviously. Okay, so Jon Favreau immediately sprung to mind. So I don't know if he fits the type of a.
He does not fit the athletic. Like maybe back in like Swingers,
possibly,
time,
yeah.
And he it's still a bit weird then.
Who else is a kind of quadruple threat right now?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, yeah.
Sings, dance, backflips.
Absolutely. He plays the drums.
Directs,
Yep.
musical.
Yep.
There's nothing that kid... He's not even a kid anymore.
No.
Yeah.
He's always going to be a kid to me.
Yeah, because of Third Rock from the Song.
Yeah.
Angels in the Outfield.
Yep.
So I reckon he's definitely
great.
a good spelunking boyfriend.
Yep.
Good old JGL.
Yep.
Was it... Oh, no, it's JGL. I think J and G are such similar letters in my mind that I'm like, I definitely got that round the wrong way, and then I'm like, no, I didn't get it around the wrong way. Anyway, yeah. So he's spelunking boyfriend. He can do all the choreography. Sure.
Yep.
Music,
he dances.
lighting.
He's a musician as well. He can do all that.
Stunts. All his.
Perfect set building.
Yeah, exactly.
No visual effects.
No, it's all practical.
Legitimate. Well, he'll have to be the animal handler as well.
So we probably need some cinematography, lighting, costumes, and makeup.
Yep.
Anyone who springs to mind who could probably handle those things? Are there any actresses who are also like artists and photographers?
There's quite a few of them.
Fashion design actors.
I mean, again. The first actress that came to mind was the one that plays Lex from Jurassic Park, who I know is a painter. But
I believe you told us last week that she'd retired from acting.
She has.
Take a lot to coax her back out.
But you never know. Stranger things have happened.
I was thinking Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
She's very multifaceted and multi-talented.
Absolutely.
Is there anyone who's like a makeup artist or a fashion designer who we might be able to convince to take a foray into the acting world?
I mean, Isaac, you're really asking a question that is so in my league of things I know.
Is it?
Well, obviously it's going to be...
Anne Geddes.
That's...
the probably 70-year-old woman who was famous in the 90s for taking pictures of babies as sunflowers is the only photographer that I could possibly name.
And I can give you one, Annie Leibovitz, which is equally as horrible a cast.
I actually think we kind of had it with Natalie Portman, if I'm being honest.
Right. I think you're right. Because we really don't need to expose our ignorance any further.
Can you like actually imagine a film where the only three actors are Natalie Portman, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Gary Oldman? That is a massive crowd drawing.
That is that's Oscar worthy. In fact, and we can have like Academy Award winners. Gary Oldman's won.
Gary has. Natalie for Black Swan.
Probably, she won. Joseph, he'll be nominated for this film for sure.
I think he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in Dark Knight Rises.
I don't think
500 Days of Summer.
But what's his face in 127 Hours?
Jimmy Franks.
Yeah, he was nominated for an Academy Award for that film, for Best Actor.
Okay.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt, mate.
Yeah,
you're on your way.
Is it Joseph's time? Has he actually been nominated? Can you get your buddies on the line?
I don't think so, but let me just call them up here. They've put me through. No, he has never been nominated.
Never been nominated?
Never been nominated. He's been nominated for a Golden Globe Award.
Is that for the tightrope walking film?
No. He was nominated twice, actually, for 500 Days of Summer.
Yep.
And 50-50.
Oh, yeah, 50-50 was quite a good film.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it in terms of like the most prestigious thing he's been nominated for.
I mean, really, I think we were looking for quite a long time for who's the person who's always been overlooked for awards. I think we found it.
Yeah.
I think this is...
Why haven't we cast him before?
Yeah, don't know.
Because we forgot.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're often trying to cast either people who are a little bit younger than him or people who are a little bit older. He's sort of fitting... that sort of range.
He can play young quite well.
I think, and he and Natalie Portman are a good couple.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I can see that working.
It'd be cute.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Do they need names? Do we need to give them like character names?
I don't think we have ever given characters names.
It makes writing the plot synopsis for the website a lot easier when we give them names, but that's fine.
That's right. An adventurous spelunking hipster in brackets. Like, you don't even need to put the in brackets. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, I just pictured Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's right.
Like, you didn't even need to tell me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the promotional material for this film is just going to be them because there's no one else in this film. That little text at the bottom of the poster is just going to have their names repeated constantly for everything.
Do you repeat, like, because I know that, like, there's a very strict format of, like, how that all sort of shakes out, and it forms, like, that great big block of elongated white text that you can't read unless you're standing, like, 2 centimeters away from the poster.
Yep.
But, like...
Because I know that they combine it when it's, like, written and directed by.
Yeah.
Which means that they're just going to have, like, that massive... like a whole bunch of that, like written and produced and shot and music by and
Animal Wrangles,
by
and Gaffigans, cool.
Okay,
I like it.
Well, I mean, talking of movie posters, we really do need one thing for that poster,
and that is a film title.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
So, hang on. Let's revise our elements here. So we've got a Mario-inspired, Bob Hoskins-inspired, Jigsaw Killer-inspired villain who lives in a sewer, who has trained a bunch of snapping turtles to do his bidding when a spelunking hipster and his girlfriend gets stuck in a sewer.
It's still at its heart that psychological trapped away from humanity, we need to escape or we're going to die sort of thing.
I think we need a single word.
So like, exactly. Adrift, gravity, they're all sort of like single word. Like I was going to suggest geocaching, but like it just sounds a bit too geostormish.
Yeah. Flushed.
Yeah.
It's a bit too close to that animated film.
Yeah. Like spelunking, it's not quite spelunking, isn't it? It's like...
Dumped.
Dumped, it'd be an interesting one if, like, JGL actually got dumped in the first half of the film. I'm not sure I really like that as a... It just doesn't have that...
Doesn't have the
terror element, the suspense element. It's got to have that sewery kind of...
Plunger?
Plunged?
Plunged?
Plunge. Plunged? Plunge. I kind of don't mind Botticelli's like nickname, as Jigsaw, as being Plunger.
Plunger, yeah.
Like it's not too bad.
Yep. Botticelli the Plunger, yeah.
Yeah.
Plunge. Because that suggests depth, and it suggests that you're about to like be ensconced in something.
I think that there's like an element of you're taking the plunge when you're proposing, so maybe there's an element of like maybe the whole thing is an elaborate setup of JGL and Natalie Portman finally goes through this psychological torment, and the final geocache is an engagement ring, and then he's just like Gary Oldman rips his mask off and it's been JGL the whole time and it's just like, will you marry me? And that's the end of the film. That is the end of Plunge.
Okay, so like Botticelli and what's his whatever.
Yeah, so
they're never going to appear together in the same.
Massive spoiler alert.
Yeah,
the twist to the first Saw film is the dead body that is on the ground the whole time is Jigsaw, played by Tobin Bell, and it's not a dead body at all.
Oh.
He's just like he's like in the room as Princess Bride Carrie Elways and the other guy are going through this traumatic event, and it's like, what a twist, we're gonna take it and use it as our own. There is no Botticelli the Plunger. It's just like a figment of JGL's
that's brilliant.
setup for this entire thing.
So someone's gonna have to make a Gary Oldman, someone's gonna have to make a mask that not only looks like Bob Hoskins, but also looks like Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman's going to play this character anyway.
Okay, Gary Oldman will play the character, but in the reveal, we need prosthetics to do the whole thing. So one of those actors is going to have to do it.
So Gary Oldman rips off prosthetics to reveal Gary Oldman face, and then we cut in JGL wearing Gary Oldman prosthetics, and who can then rip it off and reveal that it's actually him the whole time.
Exactly.
I like it.
Like the double reveal. So you think it's like, oh, it's a new character.
No. And then like in the credits, Gary Oldman's name's just crossed out. So it's just like
JGL as Gary Oldman, as Bob Hoskins, as Botticelli. Great. It's a turducken of actors.
It is absolutely. I love it. I love it to pieces.
Okay. So, Plunge. See it soon on Mafuzawudada.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a wrap.
I think indeed it is.
All right, it's time for housekeeping. We are on the web. We are moviefilmstudios.net, where you can find all of our previous episodes, some bios of ourselves, and Mafuzawudada, our digital distribution platform, which is really just a bunch of text links to all of our film names.
Check it out. It's a nice sort of burgeoning IMDb page that is a very specific database of just our films.
Just our films. It lists the film name, there's a synopsis of the film, and also who we've cast in the film.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned it for a while, but if you want to do fan art posters for any of the films that we've discussed, absolutely we welcome all comers. I mean, this one's probably pretty easy because you have 3 actors to Photoshop into a picture of a sewer. Done.
Technically, those 3 actors will have to do the marketing campaign for it anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. They're marketing and they'll be interviewing themselves in the press junkets and
Yep. Okay. Brilliant. And we will be adding a fan art page to our website as well. We will be adding a fan art page to our website at some point as well. We are on Facebook, where you can find emoji clues as to the trailers for next week's episode. This might be pretty okay for this one.
Adrift is a little bit difficult. Avengers Infinity War... maybe 5 gemstones and a glove, and then any superheroes I can find, and Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
Well,
Crimes of Grindelwald is. I mean, can put lots of Fantastic Beasts and then a picture of a treasure map, and that's where you find them.
Perfect.
Who knows?
Someone in jail, like a jail cell or something, to represent crimes.
And a Grindelwald, the famous Grindelwald
that's
emoji.
Right. Yeah, that's right. We're also on Twitter. We're at moviefilmstudio. Sure, go there if you want. And we're on iTunes and Podbean and any other place that you find quality podcasts. How we weaseled our way onto those platforms, I'll never know.
If you do like the podcast, feel free to recommend it to friends.
Yeah.
I think word of mouth is the biggest propagator of podcast listens that you can possibly do. We are working on getting some samplers up of bits and pieces that you can direct people to as little sort of one-off bits. Here's the gateway drug. Drug into the much more hardcore hour-long episodes that'll really mainline into your ears. Just let some anyone who you think you might be interested, just say, hey, some guys I know who make this silly podcast every week. It's worth having a listen to if you have an hour of spare ear time.
Indeed. If you're sick of the current crop of Hollywood films, then how about a refreshing substitute in the form of a Movie Film Studios thirst-quenching slushy?
You say thirst-quenching slushy. We've been in the sewers for the last 30 minutes. I did not have very good images come into my mind.
Okay. And I think that's it.
All that remains is to once again thank you all for listening this week. I've been Isaac.
And I've been AJ.
Roll credits. Short credits this time. Just 3 names long.